Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little bit concerned about the Sixers right now. Based off of these injuries, based off the fact that they are going to be missing 2 starters. And when you look at their schedule, it's scary. The opponents are scary. In the next 9 games, you have 5 opponents that can whoop the Sixers' ass. I'm scared. They're in the 6th seed right now, and I've always defended them, saying there's only a couple game separation from 2 to 6, and that is the truth. But now Josh Richardson's missing time. He will be reevaluated in 2 weeks. That left hamstring will be reevaluated, and I hate that term, reevaluated, because guess what? That doesn't mean he's back in 2 weeks, just like when Joel Embiid would be reevaluated in a couple weeks, and we barely heard anything other than he's okay to practice. And that was, I believe it was non-contact. So reevaluated in 2 weeks means nothing to me. That means he's going to be out more than 2 weeks. And we just saw Josh Richardson miss 6 games with a right hamstring problem. You don't mess around with the hammies. You don't want them to come back too quickly because they can pull something once again. This is a slight strain. So it's not obnoxiously brutal, but it's still enough to hold him out, and being down 2 starters is a problem. That stretch I'm talking about, you have the Lakers at home. Then you have, there's a couple games in between, but the 3-game stretch that's really significant, at Boston, at Miami, at Milwaukee. Can you imagine trying to play those games without Joel and Josh Richardson, where Shake Milton needs to play a big-time role? It's going to be a problem. And then there's a couple games involved before you go to LA and play the Clippers. Although with them, you don't know if Kawhi's going to be playing or Paul George is going to be playing because they sit one of those players every single night. And they do load management every single game, it seems. But still, my point is, missing 2 starters is going to be a problem for this team when they're playing big-time opponents. And not even just the big-time opponents. Who the hell knows? They can lose to Memphis. They can lose to Atlanta. The answer is simple. It's Ben Simmons. But here's the thing. We all know that's not how it's going to be. Right? The answer is Ben Simmons. Ben, make it happen. Be the guy. Be the game changer you are supposed to be. But we all know that's not going to happen. That's wishful thinking. That's the same thing as the Phillies. Oh, Vin Velasquez and Nick Pivetta, they'll work this year. Why would I believe that? I love Ben Simmons, but why would I believe that he's going to take over this team against the Lakers, Bucks, Boston? Why? I just watch him go 17, 10, and 8 with 8 turnovers against Toronto. And you can look at that stat line and say, Broads, he did a good job against the Raptors. I would say he had an okay game against the Raptors. He's too good to have an okay game. When you also have 2 of your starters down, you are the type of guy, supposedly, that should be taking over this team and changing the outcome because you have the talent to do so. So Ben is held to a higher standard. He's not allowed to have an okay game of 17, 10, and 8 in that circumstance. You need more. He's supposed to be the player to change outcome of games. And here you go, Ben. Here you go. The door is open for you to do so. That's the fix. So if we get that type of Ben, we can make some things happen. Now, there's plenty to talk about, but before we do, we need to hear a word from my sponsor, SeatGeek. Are you looking for free money? Are you looking to buy tickets to go to a game as well? Well, they go hand in hand. If you use the promo code BROADS at SeatGeek's checkout page, you will receive free money. You will receive $20 off of your total purchase, which is essentially free parking or free beer, free food. It's a no-brainer. Use the promo code BROADS today. Now, why Josh Richardson's injury is such a problem is because we've all seen Ben Simmons be a factor going to the basket, being a screener, rolling hard to the rim. Yes, Raul Neto had some run with Ben Simmons, and he was able to make it happen at times, specifically that Nets game. That ain't gonna fly. That ain't gonna work. You need someone who can actually play pick and roll basketball. Josh Richardson was that guy, okay? When Ben didn't have the ball in his hands, Josh Richardson was able to be a primary ball handler. He's actually able to play pick and roll basketball. He can shoot off the dribble. He can make things happen. Now, I don't know what they have. And I know a lot of the Trey Burke supporters, the free Trey Burke people, will scream his name. And I know he has that in his game. I know he does. But it's limited. It is a limited role. And not only that, what Josh Richardson brings to the table defensively from the perimeter, it's something that this team really needs. And Matisse Thybulle can do that for sure. But we had Josh Richardson, Ben Simmons, Matisse Thybulle. We had all of those guys doing it at the same time, and that was the power of their defense. I know that Josh Richardson doesn't splash, and he's not a guy that dominates every game. He has his moments where he scores 28 points, where he scores 29 points, and it's his game, and he scores a lot in the fourth quarter. Like, he has his moments, but he doesn't flash and pop off the page when we talk about him as a Sixer. But losing him for a decent amount of time, based off the fact that this bench isn't really good, and you're already missing Joel Embiid, it's going to crush this basketball squad. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope Ben Simmons takes it to the next level. There are other guys who needs to step up. Tobias, yes. Al Horford, yes. But here's the difference. Tobias, I've already mentioned this. He's a good player in this league. He is a good player, but he caps out at some point. He doesn't have the ceiling of Ben Simmons, who we expect can dominate games and change how everything goes in a basketball game. Tobias can have a moment. He can have a good fourth quarter. He can have a game where he scores 34 points. But that's not a consistent thing for him. That's not his background. He can do it at times. But the expectations of Tobias Harris isn't this dominating force that can totally be the difference in a win or a loss consistently throughout an NBA season. He's a really good player in this league. Al Horford, he has a role, and right now he's not even fulfilling that role, and he's struggling to figure it out with this basketball team. And I even tweeted yesterday, I'm upset with the way he's utilized. I think he's just not being utilized properly by Brett Brown. I don't think he is a bad basketball player. I don't think his age caught up to him. I don't believe he's a three-point shooter, a knockdown, consistent three-point shooter. He's taking way too many threes. He's way too far out on the perimeter. He needs to do more work inside. But he also has a cap. He can help a team win. He can score 18 points instead of 7. He can do better than 1 of 7 from the field. Duh. So yes, everyone needs to step up, but it comes down to if Ben is willing to take this team on a ride. Get that backpack, carry the squad, and deliver. And I don't know if he's capable of doing that. Not right now, at least. It doesn't seem that way. I'm extremely disappointed in the outcome of Ben's game against the Toronto Raptors. And I credit their defense. Their defense is a good defense. The Raptors are a good team. It's a tough building to play in. But coming off of that Brooklyn Nets game, where you controlled the entire thing and arguably had the best game of your NBA career, I can't see how you fell off that much. Don't give me the stat line. He also had 8 turnovers, and he didn't lead the team like we needed him to. Fourth quarter went quiet. Same with Tobias Harris. Not enough points in the fourth quarter. So it's just frustrating. It really is frustrating. How about this, though? Joel Embiid makes it to the All-Star game. That's great. Starter. That's huge. That's the main point, right? The main point is to be a starter at the NBA All-Star game. Obviously, there are people who will be satisfied with coming off the bench, and it is big for some of those guys. But the moral of the story is you want to be an NBA All-Star starter. Joel Embiid was voted one. Do you guys remember what happened last year? He ended up playing in the All-Star game. Then he missed some time because he got injured, and we were trying to figure out if that was because of what happened in the All-Star game or not. We were baffled, disgusted, annoyed. This dude better not play in the All-Star game. I don't care. Now the discussion's coming out, well, what if he plays the last 2 games before the All-Star break and he's back, can he play in the All-Star game? All I'm saying is, if this guy misses any time after the All-Star game due to anything that occurred then, I will be pissed! 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 I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't give a damn about the All-Star game. I don't care if he wants to play because it's cool for him. I don't give a damn. He missed so much time due to this injury. And listen, it's not his fault. You saw the finger. It was completely crooked and going the wrong way. He needed surgery. It happened during a basketball play, a freak accident. That can happen anytime, anywhere. I get it. I'm not mad at him for getting hurt. But I give a crap about this backstretch of basketball. I need him there. That game that means nothing, he better not get hurt. I just don't want to see him playing at all. After missing so much time, after what happened last year, where he missed time afterwards because of something that occurred during this game and this weekend, I just don't want to see it. I want this team to get together and play basketball. And it's one thing after the next. This guy's hurt, that guy's hurt, this guy's missing time, that guy's missing time. We never play with the starting 5. Never! Never! And it's killing me. It's not as if it's the player's fault. Accidents happen. Sports happens. Injuries happen. It's all part of the game. But we need to figure this out. And the time is running out. Early in the season, I claim I need 20 games to see what this basketball team is. Well, I knew it about 16, 15 games. Okay, this isn't molding properly. Then games keep going on. This guy's out. This guy's missing time here and there. Matisse Thybulle's not playing. There's so much going on. And here we go again. Time's running out. They need to put together a legit stretch of basketball towards the end of the season. And we can go back to this run, this 5 of 9 games where they're playing great teams in this league, missing 2 starters for at least right now. Who knows what happens by the Clippers game or so, but for right now, they're missing 2 legit starters. I mentioned how they're the 6th seed. Imagine if they drop a lot of these games based off of not having their top dogs, top players, starters. That's going to be an issue because I mentioned how it's just a couple games, a handful of games separating 2 from 6. Well, what if it's now 5 games or 6 games once this stretch is over? They're not good enough to beat these teams consistently with these bench players playing roles. Who's going to be the primary ball handler? Who's going to be that shooting guard? We're going to see a lot of Matisse Thybulle. We're going to see a lot of Furkan Korkmaz, and they're going to have to play great basketball to the point where you're holding them to a standard that they're not really there yet. Matisse is there defensively, and I feel like we have so much defense, it's almost overpowering some defense at times with not enough scoring. I think we all know that by now. And that might become an issue. But guys like Mike Scott, and we need these guys to play at a higher level than they're capable of at a long period of time. We're not asking for it for one basketball game. We're asking for it for weeks, right? Weeks! And they are bench players for a reason. They are streaky players for a reason. And I'm not talking about someone like Matisse, because I think he brings that defensive intensity pretty much every game. But Furkan's a streaky shooter. Mike Scott's a streaky shooter. James Ennis, you don't know what you're going to get out of him. Right? Now the trades are starting to fly around, and the Sixers are involved with every single guy ever. D. Rose, Gallinari now, which I don't know how that's ever going to work out financially. You can talk about Mike Scott and Zahir Smith being thrown in the mix. He makes a ton of money. I don't see how that is going to work. Who else is in there? Bertans. There's so many names getting thrown around, and the Sixers are involved with everyone. And I'm going to use the air quotes involved because what? I mean, these are just trade rumors getting thrown around on Twitter and whatnot. But, I mean, people are reporting it. They are people around the league. They are NBA reporters who are making these statements saying the Sixers are involved, which I'm sure they are. I'm sure Elton Brand is calling everyone and making sure everyone is being talked to just to hear it out, feel it out, see what he can get. I'm just confused on how they're going to make this work, what they're going to give up. Is it worth trading some pieces, a Zhaire Smith, Mike Scott or so, for one half of a stretch of, say, a Marcus Morris or something of that nature, which I don't know if that would work out. Not only the beef on the court, which is just the game, right, but financially and things of that nature. I know some players out there have 2 years left. Bogdanovich is another name as well. I know some of these players have 2 years left on their contract. That makes more sense to me because I guess I just don't see it, and I guess I understand that I don't think this team has enough. I just don't. They're not flowing together well. They don't have enough gel. They don't look right. I don't know if adding Bogdanovich or adding Derrick Rose right now for this backstretch is the difference of them going to the NBA Finals or not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's a big enough spark plug to get this team going. I don't see that, though. So I don't know if it's worth giving up a 19-year-old, 20-year-old Zhaire Smith for a half of a season for 30 games or, 30 games or so of a Marcus Morris. Now, if someone like D. Rose comes to town and he can be a legitimate backup point guard for this year and next year, now I'm thinking more about it. Now I like that approach more because I don't think this team is built for this season. I just don't see it. I haven't seen it throughout this first half. Playoff basketball is a different type of basketball. They have the defensive intensity to really swarm teams and make it a tough night for them. I don't know if they have enough scoring on the other side. I don't know if they have enough bench. We'll see how it all plays out. We'll see. I guess I just don't like the let's give up someone like Zhaire Smith, who I'm not telling you he's this superstar player, but for a half of a season of a bench guy who might get 10 minutes, is that worth it? When I don't feel like this team is there. I don't think that team is a Marcus Morris or, one other guy away. It helps. We need help. We do. But maybe there's different ways to go. Maybe you only attack someone with 2 years left, the D. Rose and things of that nature. I'm just putting on my GM thinking cap here, that's all. We're not trading Tobias Harris. We're not trading Ben Simmons. We're not trading Joel Embiid. I would say we're not trading out Horford because teams aren't going to want to go after him. Would Elton Brand do it if a trade is possible? I think Elton Brand would do it. I don't think it will happen, though. I don't. I think Elton Brand would do it, though, realizing maybe the fit isn't as strong as he thought it would be. But I don't think anyone's going to take on that type of money for an Al Horford. I don't think that there would be enough in return for someone like Al Horford. So you're kind of stuck. Someone I would, and let me just be clear, I don't think he's the worst fit in the world, to be honest with you. I mentioned this. I don't think he's utilized properly. Is he heavily paid? Sure, no doubt about it. But could he work with this crew? I do think he could. I don't think we're doing that, though, and that does fall on the head coach. But there is one guy who I would move, that I would move if there is a possibility of getting something in return. Now, I'm not a fan of every single trade deadline trading and a big piece, acquiring a new big piece, a big-time difference maker. It's as if we're playing NBA 2K20, and we're making all these moves every single trade deadline, every single offseason. At some point, you got to say, this is our team, and this is what we have, and this is how we need to make it work, right? But I will say, I think that there is a piece you can move that has a little bit of value where you might be able to get something in return, but right now, he's banged up, and that's Josh Richardson. I like what he brings to the table. I think he is a great defender by the perimeter. He can be a good pick-and-roll guy. He adds value to this team without a doubt. But I'm just saying, if you're looking for someone who can get you something in return, it's not Zhaire Smith, it's not Mike Scott, it's not James Ennis, it's none of those bench guys. You're not really going to get anything good. You can get something for Josh Richardson, I think. But I'm not a fan of moving on from someone else again, bringing in someone else new, doing this, doing that. At some point, this is the squad. Make it work. There's enough talent to make it work. Make it work, right? I would move on from Brett Brown before I move on from a ton of legit pieces on this roster. Now, that's not what's going to happen now. That's an off-season move. Now, it would make no sense to fire the head coach. They're too deep into it. This is what they are. That's an off-season move. To fire a head coach right now, it doesn't make any sense. That's another big change up. Here we go again. Let's change the philosophy. We got to do this. We got to do that. It doesn't happen this deep into a season. When your mindset is, and I believe this is the mindset for the Philadelphia 76ers this year, go to the championship. And that's just reality. So, a lot covered. I want to get your thoughts on this. I think it's very interesting, and it's going to be, I don't want to say comical. It'll be intriguing to watch this team play without two starters, to watch what Ben Simmons is going to do, to see who's going to step up, what type of players when LeBron James comes to town, when the Lakers come to town, when they go on the road against these top squads. I'm nervous. No doubt about it, I am nervous. And there's nothing we're going to be able to do until they get back, until they get healthy. Hopefully they don't drop too far down. That's my biggest concern. Don't keep dropping too far down. Maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe they'll win one of these games. It's sort of like the NFL. Hopefully, I'm praying. There's always games when you look at the 16-game schedule. Oh, win, loss, win, loss, win, right? You go down the schedule, you pick your wins and losses. But when it plays out, there's always a win where you expected to lose. Going into Green Bay and beating Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau Field on a Thursday night on a short week, yeah, that's a loss. Oh, wait, it was a win? Oh, Detroit Lions at home, that's a win. Oh, it was a loss, right? Maybe, just maybe, that's what's going to happen here. Oh, the Lakers? Ooh, no Joel, no Josh Richardson, that's a loss, but it's a win. And maybe I'm feeling optimistic about that one because it's at the Wells Fargo Center. But if you fast forward and it's Miami away or it's Milwaukee away without those two guys, ooh, what's going to happen? Automatic loss, right? Who knows? That's me just being optimistic. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe, and I will see you next time.